Hey, what's up, everyone? This is me, Dre. I wanted to make this video because, on my Facebook page, I debate with a lot of people. It's not like I don't do that. If you've ever checked out my videos and you see the back and forth exchanges between me and some trolls. But on my Facebook page, there's a lot of people with different ideologies when it comes to politics and things like that. But when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement, I try to give my take from a black perspective because something like that could directly impact me, maybe not. But for me, when I look at the fact that black people who are part of the Black Lives Matter movement, we're basically trying to lend our voice against police brutality. So we get a lot of rebuttals such as, what about black on black crime? You have Jamila Bolden, who was recently killed while doing her homework, and those kind of things are heartbreaking. But you also have people that speak about or speak against black people, especially here in Texas, where in Houston, Deputy Goforth was killed by a black man, and people try to link that directly with the Black Lives Matter movement, but that's not the case. You're talking about a black guy who committed a senseless act of violence, and my heart goes out to the Goforth family because it's a tragic loss to the community. But at the same time, you have these coon-ass motherfuckers like Sheriff David Clarke, Fox News' token Negro. Whenever there's something when it comes to blacks in a community or something like that, he's going to be the first proponent to speak out against the Black Lives Matter movement. He calls it the Black Lives Matter movement, where he's trying to say the ghetto, don't try to fix the cops, fix the ghetto. But the thing is, you don't see Officer Clarke or Sheriff Clarke speak out against the police brutality. He didn't say shit when the officer killed Sam DuBose. He didn't say anything about the police officers who administered that illegal chokehold against Eric Garner. He didn't say shit about the police officer who confused his taser and gun and killed Eric Harris in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He didn't have shit to say about Sandra Bland being pulled over and arrested simply because she didn't want to put out her cigarette, and she was later found killed, which has now been ruled a homicide in Houston, Texas. But when it comes to black people, he's quick to talk against his own race as if some hillbilly out in the middle of nowhere is going to look at him like he needs to be hanging from a fucking rope. So when it comes to the Black Lives Matter movement, we are speaking out against police brutality. Now, a lot of people, when the first instance of it was televised with the Rodney King beating, a lot of America was stunned and shocked that something like this can happen. However, in the black community, this shit was an everyday occurrence. So this has been happening for decades, far before handheld camcorders and all that were the thing where you can just pop a tape in and record what's happening at the moment. And now with the advent of smartphones and the cameras, you can capture the moment on the fly, and that's what a lot of people are doing. So don't act like it's a surprise, because this is something that's been happening all along. And it's easy to ask, what about the black on black crime? Well, let me tell you about the black on black crime. There's a lot of people in those black communities, families of people who have been victimized and have lost loved ones. They are having the candlelight vigils. They're having their community meetings at town halls and at churches. They're crying out to the people in the community to stop the senseless acts of violence because they want the community to grow. Those are the kind of things that you don't see on the media, because the press, they want you to think that it's a war zone when you go to certain parts of the city in Chicago or Philadelphia or Houston or Detroit. They want you to think that black people only have one mindset to off each other. But the question is, when there's an instance of black on black crime, who really gives a fuck? And that's the only reason why anyone would say, what about black on black crime? Because when you out a white person for white on white crime, which is prevalent in this country, they get on the defensive and start asking about black on black crime. Whites and non-blacks are quick to throw out bullshit statistics, which I always say are manufactured numbers, when it comes to how black people make up 12% of the U.S. population, but they make up 85% of the prison population. We all know, and it's documented facts, that there's a new Jim Crow law to where black people are severely punished for the same crimes that a lot of white people can commit. They're getting far more and much stricter sentences when it comes to those types of crimes. So I'm not going to sit here and even try to have too much of a debate about that, because people want to take that from FBI.gov, the same organization that claimed Martin Luther King to be a communist. So that really loses part of the argument right there. But I wanted to speak about the black on black, or at least the Black Lives Matter, if I should say, the movement, because it's not for black people in that movement to say rise up and start killing cops, rise up and start going out and committing crimes against white people. The Black Lives Matter movement is primarily black people standing up and saying enough is enough when it comes to police brutality. That's what we're against. And people don't seem to understand that, and that's the truth when it comes to America, because it's not happening in the suburbs where Timmy and little Jane are walking around. They can have a criminal mindset. They could be breaking into people's houses. They could be driving along and getting stopped by police, and yeah, they'll probably get a ticket. But during those encounters, how many times do you think you're going to see an unarmed white person getting killed? Yes, it would be something that's put in the news, but in 2015 alone, how many times have you seen a story about an unarmed black person that has fallen victim to police brutality? The year is almost over. We basically got 4 months left. And during that time, I can guarantee there's going to be far more instances of unarmed black people falling victims to overzealous cops who think that they're doing their job, but they're actually doing more to hurt the community. That's why there's such a distrust and there's a divide amongst the community. And that's a goddamn shame, but it's the truth. Me as a black man, I shouldn't have to worry about when I go out in my vehicle and me getting pulled over. I shouldn't have to worry about that at all. But that is something that is a stark reality that only non-blacks around America seem to overlook. But they really don't give a shit, which is why they want to rebuttal with, what about white on white crime? It does happen, yes. All lives matter. It's easy to say that. But you don't have to have a movement for all white lives because you're not seeing police brutalizing white people the way they are black people. If you like this video, hope that you like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to hit me up on Facebook. Peace.